Dispatchers help callers on the worst days of their lives. For over 25 years, we've been there. A silent partner in millions of calls thanks to our redundant and diverse networks that ensure call delivery. Today, cities are bigger, traffic more congested, and the challenge is more complex. But you're never alone, because InDigital is quietly improving, implementing, and driving the next generation of 911, so you're supported in every situation. Make the switch at indigital.net.
Have you ever met a 911 professional and asked, what's the worst call you've ever taken? Well, here's your answer. I heard your last breath the night you flipped your four-wheeler. I tried to call you the day you committed suicide by driving your car into a tree. Blue face, cold to the touch. I helped you with CPR after you found your infant face down, not breathing. It messed me up. I did everything I could, but it wasn't enough. You were with me from the beginning, Grandma. 27 years later, I took the 911 call when you died. How fitting to be there for me in the beginning, and I was there for you in the end. I miss you, Grandma. I am 911. This is but a glimpse into the world of emergency dispatch. But what is it really like to answer a call during someone's nightmare? What is the impact on the first responder answering the call? Available on Amazon or where you purchase your favorite books and ebooks. Imagine listening. Your worst day is our everyday.
This is Jordan, and you're listening to the Code 7 Podcast Network.
Warning. This episode contains the 3 A's of podcasting: adult content, adult language, and awesomeness. You've been warned.
We have a partnership with a mental health professional in her clinic that they work just with public safety, and I ended up there. And they put me through EMDR therapy to get rid of it. And so I can sit here and talk about it now, and I know it exists, but I can live.
Right, you can manage
without it being there. We hear things we should never hear every
Right.
single day, but we don't have to live with those things.
Exactly.
There are tools that we can use to live a normal life without waking up and sleeping and eat, sleep, breathe, or however you want to say it, the same calls over and over again. And I'm the biggest poster child for it because I can now survive. I don't hear it everywhere.
Welcome to Within the Trenches, true stories from the 911 dispatchers who live them.
Hey, what's going on? This is Ricardo with the Code 7 Podcast Network, and this is Within the Trenches, true stories from the 911 dispatchers who live them. This episode is sponsored by InDigital, a leader in next-gen core services, and a big shout-out to subscribers, as always, especially Rapid SOS for hosting us here at their booth 2317. We are live currently in the vendor hall of APCO 2025 in Baltimore, Maryland, and so much stuff has been going on. It has also been hot as the devil's balls here. It is crazy. It has been super hot, and maybe I'll take that part out. Maybe I won't. I don't know. It was kind of funny. But I'm with my guest today. My guest is probably thinking my parents are going to hear this, and you just said some crazy shit. But I am here with my guest today, and her name is Victoria, and she is an Academy instructor out of Texas. How's it going?
Wonderful. It has been
You're like, now with that intro.
it's been a crazy few days here in Baltimore.
So, is this your first national conference, or?
It's my first APCO.
Your first APCO national conference.
I have been to Navigator last year.
That's right.
Yes.
We did those videos,
We
those little
did.
videos. I haven't posted those yet. I need to do that.
Why? That was so fun. It was Jingo, right?
Yes, it was Jingo with all those
Yes.
questions and stuff. I'm going to do that when I get home because I have them all. There was just certain questions that I wanted to make sure that I put together.
Right.
And things have just been so busy lately.
You're
I haven't
a
had a
busy
chance.
man.
But I have that content, and it's going to be a lot of fun because some of those questions were crazy.
Yes.
So you were at Navigator. You've been to Nina then, and
I've not been to Nina.
Oh, you've not been to Nina.
No.
Okay. Well,
I know.
that's another one.
That's another one to go to.
you
That's
gotta
my
go
next
to.
year plan. Is to
So-
hit Nina.
For this being your first national APCO, then,
Yes.
Just the vendor hall alone,
Is insane. So the only thing I had to compare it to was Navigator, which is phenomenal, but it is very protocol based.
Right.
And then I come to this and I had no idea that I could spend an entire day in the exhibit hall and still not see everything I wanted to see.
Exactly.
So here I am on day 2.
Right. Right. Yeah. I'm in the 2300 section.
Correct.
And it's even to my right, there is way more stuff going down there, like where Joe is. And for those listening right now who don't know, because we're talking regularly, Joe Serio of the 360 Dispatcher, you know, they've got this huge semi over there called Thor.
I was on Thor.
What did you think
amazing.
of that? Yeah. So for those who don't know who are listening right now, Thor is this big ass semi, it's jet black, and it's a mobile dispatch center. And it's 2
levels.
floors.
That's the part that got me. There were 2 levels on it.
Right. Yeah. You go on. If you've never been on there before, you go on. There's like consoles and stuff, and they're actually taking live calls in there right now. And then you'll have someone who's like, "Come upstairs," and you're like, "Upstairs? What?" And there's more consoles, more screens with like maps and all this other stuff. And then they have basically kind of like a war room, right?
They do.
It's a huge conference table and all this other shit that's in there.
Yep. We talked to someone taking 911 calls actually, and people that were taking like their 311 non-emergency calls as well. And they were all super friendly and super helpful and explained what they were doing. And one of them, this was their first time on the bus. They had obviously gone on it to kind of practice and make sure everything worked and field test it. But otherwise, they were super helpful in explaining what they do.
Sheesh. Yeah, it's everyone has been talking about how enormous this is, the amount of industry partners that are in here, Thor over there. But the other thing that people have been talking a lot about that I haven't had a chance to go see yet, but I need to, or my daughters might be upset with me because I didn't bring or give them pictures. I guess there's like a bunch of puppies.
There are. I've already been there. That's the second place I went.
Oh my gosh.
I beelined for the puppies. I saw the canine experience yesterday at 10:30 first, and then went straight to the wellness area and right in the puppy pen.
I love that it's in the wellness area. Yes. So, I've said this on the other episodes as well, but I'm going to say it again because I just want to see your reaction. But I had asked people how many puppies are in there, and they said a ton of them. And I said, well, can you describe a ton? Like, would it be like me, the equivalent of jumping into Scrooge McDuck's bin with all the gold coins and swimming through it? Like, I'd be able to swim through puppies? They're like, not exactly, but there's a lot of them in there. And I said, okay, so I'd be able to lay on my back and do like snow angels, but with the puppies. In puppies.
Yes.
So they're like, yeah, pretty much. There's that many.
That's a good analogy. Yes. You could definitely lay on the floor and be covered by puppies.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's the dream.
It is the dream.
Can you imagine being just fully overwhelmed and stressed, especially if you're an introvert, in this huge
it's loud
area? Yeah, loud, tons of people all over the place. And then you see the puppies and you walk in and all of that stress just melts away. And you can adopt them as well.
And you can adopt them.
That's craziness.
They were talking about that.
But that's a really cool thing, though, to be able to have that. And I mean, obviously it was a good thing because everyone's been talking about it. And the look on your face as well, you're like, ah!
I love animals so much and I love dogs so much, and so I just enjoy it.
That's the coolest. Okay, you've got me sold. I need to bring my ass over there, see the puppies, get some pictures, send them to my daughter.
Yes.
All right, I'm going to make sure to do that. So I'm excited to have you on here because we met originally at the ranch.
Yeah.
In Bandera, Texas, the Mayan Ranch. Joe Serio from the 360 Dispatcher puts on this leadership training event, and we met you there. And it's kind of a life-altering experience in a way. A lot of stuff that we're going to go through a little bit here a little later in this episode. But what I want to know first, a couple things right off the bat. One, how many years you have in public safety? And two, how did you even get involved in dispatch to begin with?
Yeah, so I am not the most tenured, right? I started later in my career. I've been for 3.5 years with the same agency. So I started as a line level dispatcher, got fully cross-trained, worked the swing shift, so like a noon to midnight shift, a mid shift, and then moved into the Q room, or Q unit, I guess. And did that for 1.5 years. So I was a Q while we were going through the ACE process. We are now an ACE accredited agency, which is amazing.
Yes.
I love that so much.
Yeah, for those who don't know what that means though, like a Q or anything like that, what does that mean? Because I know that getting that accreditation is not an easy
No,
thing.
it's
like
not.
that, there's not a lot of them out there, a lot of agencies who have that.
Right.
So, I mean, and if you are like, or if you go to the Navigator conference, like they have like an actual banquet just
Yes.
for those agencies. Yeah.
They do.
So what exactly does that mean?
So it means that we use protocols. We use IAD protocols. We use all 3 of them, and that we use them at a certain level. That means we are at a standard of service that we're providing to our citizens at all times. And so it's very in-depth. We have to teach our field units. We have to ensure we have policies in place. We have to queue calls and have a third party queue our calls, which means we're evaluating those calls to ensure we're following the protocols. And it's all about covering for liability, right? If we follow the protocol, then we are doing it as a large group of people have decided that is the appropriate way to do it, right? Like there are
quality assurance.
Exactly. There are units of people who choose that these questions asked in these directions is how it works best,
right,
and how we get the information best. And then that gives us like CPR instructions for medical and all these different things that we wouldn't have otherwise.
Right.
And so it is a huge process. And we are fire and police, and we are working on our medical currently. So we will hopefully be tri-A's, fingers crossed,
Yeah. Nice. Oh man. Yeah. So there's a process. There's all kinds of things.
Yeah.
So you've got, you said 3.5, like going on.
Yes, 3.5 years
of that time. And so did you do like any sit-alongs or anything when you first started, or did you just like you just jumped in?
Yeah, so I did loss prevention before this. That's where my bread and butter is. I did 8 years of loss prevention, what people will call a target cop, right?
Okay.
For most of it.
Yes.
And so I had kind of the law enforcement side experience with working with law enforcement and partnering.
Yeah.
And when I moved to Texas, I didn't love it down here nearly as much as I did from Kansas, because I'm a transplant to Texas, right? I'm not originally from there. And so I had someone in my life at the time that was just like, hey, I think you'd be good at this. Like, you're really good at multitasking. You're really good at like making decisions and being assertive and talking with people. And so you might be good at this. And I decided, okay, let's go for it. And so I did. I went for a really large agency, to be honest, in our area. It's not a small agency.
Yeah.
And so I tackled a beast, essentially, and chose it and then stayed with it. And have done really, really well.
There you are.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
Nice. So, okay, so you go through the process and everything, and you walk in that first day. It's like day 1, you're now going in. What is that like for you? Like, is it overwhelming? But also, what are you seeing when you walk in? Are there multiple people on the floor working at the same time, or tons of monitors, keyboards? Are you thinking, hey, can I even do this? Like, what is going through your mind?
So I hadn't stepped foot in their comm center until day 1.
Oh no.
So I didn't do a sit-in. I didn't do any of that.
Yeah.
We do that now for our agency, but at that point we didn't really. It wasn't common practice. And so my first day, we have an academy that's a pretty large academy. It's a lengthy one. And so it's intensive. And thankfully there's that, because they try to prepare you for it, as opposed to some agencies I know just put you on the floor day 1.
Right.
And that's insane to me in the scope of how I learned how to do this career and how to do this job. So I went in. We have 20-ish, 26-ish maybe consoles on the floor, and then another 8 in our academy lab.
Bro.
And so it's a lot, and we have so many dispatchers at a time that I was like, how am I ever going to learn this? How am I going to learn to do what they're doing? And I was very hard on myself through the whole learning process, because I am somebody who I want to run before I walk.
Yeah.
So I'm watching all these people with 8-10 years of experience doing this flawlessly, and I'm struggling with it myself because I'm slow. Well, I don't have that memory, those habits, the just muscle memory that they have. And it took time. And I had to learn to have grace with myself, because I went from being, like I said, 8 years in loss prevention where I was a subject matter expert. They sent people to me to train all the time. And now I'm having to ask for help. And that's a transition.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
That's a mindset change.
Oh my gosh. Yes. And like you said, you're almost wanting to be perfect. And now this is like the 5th episode that I'm recording here. And I've said it every single time, but I'm going to say it again because it is true. we get to that point where we're trying to be so perfect that it starts to break us down a little bit, because then you start second guessing yourself, and like all of these other things are going on, and it adds even more stress to an already super stressful profession as it is. And we have to basically normalize, but also remember that we are also human.
Yes.
And I think a lot of times that's why people end up crashing out, because you're so stuck on wanting to be perfect that you forget that you're a human.
And we all make mistakes.
Right.
We
it
all
all
need
happens.
time.
Exactly. But sometimes that patience, right, isn't there, because I was the same way as you. Like, I wanted to go. I wanted to go. And I remember, some of the calls that I was taking early on at the central dispatch, and my trainer being there. And one of them specifically, I remember, he was a domestic. And she kept telling me, I think you're ready to go on your own. And I'm like, no, I don't think so. So this domestic comes in, and there wasn't any physical, it was verbal, but it was like a very, like almost violent verbal, going on. And I'm trying to keep them separated. But this old CAD system that we had, if you didn't have everything like specific, like right, whether it be the incident code, township code, city code, like all of that stuff, ORI, it would not go through. And I blanked on the incident type for domestic. I don't know why they had it written this way at the time, but it was DOME. And right, yeah, exactly, exactly. And I used to say to them, why don't you guys just have it as DV?
Yeah. And
so they ended up changing it. It wasn't because of me,
look at you.
but they eventually changed it because they had to go through a process and stuff. But what happened with me was just one more thing to add to the list, because I guess I wasn't the only one who was saying, you guys need to change this. So I couldn't get it in there. I look over at my trainer and I muted myself. I was like, you're going to have to jump on this. You're going to have to take this. And she's like, no.
You got
Take
this.
a deep breath. Yeah, you've got this. And it was basically that mindset of, I'm going to let you take in a little water, but I'm not going to let you drown.
Correct.
Yeah. But that's what I needed. I needed that. I took that deep breath, and I'm still going through the call, and because I never put it on hold, so I'm still listening, as this is going, and everyone is getting there, but I needed that.
Yeah.
And from that time, whenever I had a trainee or anybody else who had an issue, I was able to share that story with them and say, look, you're human. Shit's going to happen, okay? But you're going to be okay, and we're going to be able to get through it together as long as we're talking about this. So, which I know a lot of times people don't want to talk about things either, right?
They really don't.
Yeah. So you're going through all of this stuff. You're running to run, sprint before you can even crawl or walk. And so how long did the training process last then?
At that point, I think it was like maybe 8 weeks in the academy, and then another 4 out on the floor actually taking live calls with a trainer. So we're looking at like a 3-month process before I'm on my own taking calls.
Right.
Yeah.
So, of course, you start with non-emergencies, right?
Yeah.
And No?
We come straight out, and it's a mixture. It's a 911 and non-emergencies all at the same time.
No way.
Yeah.
A lot of time, well, at other places and where I was at as well, you start with those non-emergencies, the alarm calls. Like, it's an alarm call. Okay, put them on hold. Ricardo, that one's yours. I'm like, okay, this is Ricardo, you just jump right in.
We sure do.
Oh, whoop. Right to the wolves, right to the lions. All right. So then when they tell you, okay, Victoria, today, we're going to start on calls. And it doesn't matter if it's a non-emergency or emergency call, you're up.
Yeah.
What are you feeling?
Oh, insane anxiety.
Right.
Insane.
Right, like beads of sweat and everything.
I am, for lack of better terms, a shit magnet.
Oh, you're that person.
I so much so that I got a black cloud patch given to me by one of my officers later in my dispatching career. So it started day 2 and day 3 of call taking with a trainer. It was not easy for me.
Yeah.
It was a very intensive process. And like day 2, I took a hanging call. Day 2 on the floor, taking calls. Where people were screaming in the background. No one was like doing what I needed them to do. I was stuck in a protocol I'd never really utilized, hadn't gone through. And that was really hard for me. I processed it that day. Obviously, people were checking on me, things like that, just to make sure I was okay, because I was very fresh to this industry.
Right.
Day 3, we have a tornado in Round Rock. sat down, went through the town, started at 35-45 interchange, and there's an actual tornado on the ground, and I'm out there taking live calls. And I took ground zero call for there being a tornado. And my reaction was what a normal human's would be, like a tornado. Like, I reacted to it. And my trainer, I can remember you're talking about your trainer being like, okay, you have to do this, you have to do this.
Yeah.
My trainer looked at me and said, you can't react. And I said, oh yeah, like I'm supposed to be the one that has to stay calm right now. I can't react. And that sticks with me because I 100% just kicked into, oh crap, like this is happening. There's a tornado on the ground. And the panic that happens, like from Kansas, tornadoes are destructive. Texas knows tornadoes are destructive. And so that moment has stuck with me to the point, like, I have to be the calm. I have to be the reasoning voice. I have to be there for them because if I elevate, it doesn't make it any better. And so day 3 on the floor, taking live calls, I am in there 2 hours late because it was right at shift change, taking calls of absolute destruction and people trapped in houses and vehicles upside down. And that is how my training career started on the floor.
Well, folks, that's all the time we have. I mean, holy crap, what?
Yeah.
Dude, okay, that was not what I expected.
Not an easy gig.
No.
Not an easy start.
Just listening to how you were saying that I'm the one who needs to be the calm. I need to do this. I need to do this. For those who are listening, who did not have any idea what 911 is like, this is as real as it gets. Like, this is the amount of pressure that comes with this position in this profession.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You go in thinking you're going to have a normal day, and 5:45 hits and you have a tornado on the ground.
Jeez. So what you're telling me right now, it makes me think about a girl that I used to work with, and in Central Dispatch, excuse me. And I actually grew up with her. We were childhood friends. So it was funny that like years later, we end up working together in dispatch, and she was actually my supervisor at the time. But I remember sitting with her and just kind of talking with her a little bit. And I said, so like, do you remember what it was like, when you first started? Because she had started around the same time. She started at 18, I was 19. But I started out in Florida, she started in Michigan.
Oh.
And then I ended up moving back home to Southwest Michigan, and we ended up working together, which was just weird. But she goes, my first call that I remember taking while training, it was a triple homicide. And I was like,
oh my gosh.
Oh, okay.
That's intense.
I mean, yeah. But dude,
wow.
I mean, tornado and like all that other stuff, like it's all intense.
It is.
But I was just sitting there and I was waiting for like a crack of a smile, not in a weird, creepy way, but for her to end up saying, I'm just joking with you.
Right.
No, there wasn't. It was just her just kind of looking at me, and I was like, oh, she's for real.
That really happened, right?
Yeah. And I said, really? Again? And she's like, yeah, dude, that's what I took. I was like, and you're still here? And she goes, yep.
Yep.
I was like, okay.
Yep.
It's a crazy profession.
It's a special type of person that can do it.
Yeah, exactly.
And we say that a lot, but like it really is.
It really is true. Yeah. I was told about probably about 2 years ago now that there's only about 2 to 4% of the American population that can do this job, that can be in this profession.
Wow.
How crazy is that?
That's insane.
Yeah. So that's how your start out
special
is.
People,
I know. You're like, yeah, yay for us. Why don't we have more resources? Well, we do now.
We do.
But yeah, years back, there wasn't really there. So about 2016 on, I would say, is when a lot of stuff started changing. A lot more resources started coming out, and which has been for the better.
Right.
Because otherwise, if it had stayed the same, it would have been someone would have probably told you, even though you're starting out, these early calls, tornado and everything else, suck it up. You're gonna be fine. Just move on to the next one. And because in some places, it's still kind of like that.
Still like that, yeah.
And that sucks. But change is really happening.
It is.
Happening everywhere. So you've got all of those things that have happened. And I don't know if that was kind of part of this other question that I have for you or not, but in these three and a half years that you've been in public safety, is there kind of a call that sticks with you as well? Like some of the other calls that you've taken?
I have one that was kind of the hardest call I think I took, and it wasn't even those. It was later in my career that I actually ended up in EMDR therapy to get rid of, to be honest, because we don't look at mental health enough, even though we are starting to. We don't look at it nearly enough in this industry and how it affects us. And at that point, I am now in peer support. I wasn't before. And I didn't know the signs that this was sticking with me, other than I knew it was there, and I didn't realize that was normal, right? It's like couldn't sleep, couldn't eat, all these things because I was hearing it. So it was an accident. It was a motorcycle, 2 people on a motorcycle hit by a truck. And they were looking for the passenger on the motorcycle, and they couldn't find her. And then somebody on scene, I ended up speaking with 3 different people on the phone. Somebody on scene told me, like, she's obviously dead, and it's a DOA. And this was a nurse, so I kind of believed, but I needed to know why she believed this, and she told me that she was in pieces. So that part was fine. I could, like, compartmentalize that. It's when they told the driver of the motorcycle that this person was in pieces. Like, so he asked, "Did you find my wife?" And they said yes, and said, like, don't let him see her. I could hear all of this going on in the background. And then he asked, "Is she going to be okay?" And you know how medical professionals just kind of like shake their head no and just kind of look down?
Yeah.
Nothing was said in the background of that call, but I know what happened, and he screamed in agony.
Ugh.
And that scream is what stuck with me for forever. Like, I couldn't sleep. I couldn't walk in a store. I couldn't think. Everything was that scream. I could hear it at all times.
Yeah.
And I didn't know why. And it was weeks and weeks and weeks later. And I finally ended up, we have a partnership with a mental health professional in her clinic that they work just with public safety. And I ended up there. And they put me through EMDR therapy to get rid of it. And so, like, I can sit here and talk about it now, and I know it exists, but I can live.
Right. You can manage
without it being there. Like, we hear things we should never hear every single day, but we don't have to live with those things.
Exactly.
There are tools that we can use to live a normal life without waking up and sleeping and eat, sleep, breathe, or however you want to say it, the same calls over and over again. And I'm the biggest poster child for it, because I can now survive. I don't hear it everywhere.
Wow. I thank you very much for sharing that, and especially the way you explained it and just being open, because I know there are going to be a lot of people who end up hearing this that are probably struggling in silence. And maybe just hearing your story is almost permission in a way for them to actually seek help for themselves. Because I think sometimes we feel like, in a way, we need permission, like someone to be like, it's okay to care for yourself.
It
is it really? Is it? Like, yeah.
It's okay to go lay in the puppies.
Right, yes. Go do snow angels with the puppies. Yes, it is okay. And a lot of times, like there was someone who was on here a moment ago who said that they said, in a selfish way,
I'll be right back.
what I'm proud of is my own growth and stuff. And I was like, hold up a minute. I was like, no. That's not a selfish moment.
Right.
I was like, we need to be able to normalize us, one, giving ourselves grace, but also being proud of it. Because I get it. Someone does something good and someone says, you did an awesome job on that. And the response a lot of times is, well, thanks. I was just doing my job, right?
Just doing my job.
Yes, exactly. It's okay to be humble, but damn, it's okay to be happy and proud of your growth and stuff that you're going through. But I understood how she was explaining it as well. And she explained a little more.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, no, that is a good thing to be able to do that and feel like it's okay. Because we're always taking care of everyone else.
We are.
There's got to be a time that we take care of ourselves.
Exactly right.
Yeah. With that said, the next question that I have for you is, what is something that you are proud of, or, something that good that has happened in the profession? And before you answer, I want to preface this as well with, in the beginning, how going to the ranch for not everyone, but there are some folks that they really, I'll put it this way. One of the things that Joe says, and something that I say a lot in my class, or that we have said in the beginning of the ranch, is you're going to get out of this what you put into it.
Absolutely correct.
Right. If you were just coming to enjoy just being in the middle of nowhere and just chilling,
Right.
or whatever, then fine. You're really not going to get anything out of the experience. And it's not a cheap thing either to go to
You're going to
there
get some
for
good
the
food,
week.
you're going to get some horses, some solitude.
Right, exactly. But if you're not putting yourself into it as well to actually
Right.
get more out of it, then you're not going to have what a lot of people have said as a kind of a life-altering experience.
Absolutely.
And I feel like and this is not in a weird way, but seeing stuff on social media that you have done from the time that you left to now, and then hearing about the position that you're in too, like there's a lot of things that, as you said before we started recording, a whirlwind that has happened. So what kind of transformations have you gone through? And I feel like part of that, being an instructor now, is maybe part of one of the things that's been good or that you're proud of in this profession.
Yeah. So after the ranch, it really expanded my mind and expanded what I was doing with my life. It showed me things that I needed to change. And so I did. I made a lot of changes in my life in order to improve myself, in order to be happy. I was a very depressed person before the ranch. I was dealing with a lot of stuff, and it wasn't just work. I had a lot of things personally.
Yeah.
And so I was incredibly depressed. And I realized at the ranch there were things in my life that I needed to change in order to save myself.
Yeah.
And so I did. I made changes within 2 months in my life, and then met with Joe. I actually reached out to Joe and said, hey, I need to meet with you to talk about this.
Yeah.
And so we have met after that and talked about the changes that ranch made in me and the movements that it made in my life, and have continued to make since then, because this was last year in March. So I'm just a little bit over a year out of that. I stayed in the Q department through that. And then in May of this last year, I moved into our academy instructor position. I applied for it, I got it. I just graduated my first academy of students last week.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That is amazing.
That's awesome.
Yes.
They passed, they did great. And so that was part of it, was that I didn't want to train when I got into this industry. That wasn't what I wanted to do. And then as I was going through being in Q and giving feedback and teaching people how to do the profession, I was like, I can do this from the beginning. I can instill this in people from the beginning because I have a passion for it. Yeah. And why wouldn't I do that? Because I don't want to talk in front of people. Why wouldn't I do a podcast with Ricardo? Because I don't want to talk in front of people.
Yes.
My heart's through my head right now, but because I don't like public speaking. It's not something that I enjoy doing. And I feel like I stumble over my words all the time, but I think we all do that. So this is real and this is human, and having this interaction with you is what probably 90% of the people needed to hear or thought or anything. And I have the ability to do it. I have the ability to share my history, to share my experiences, and to hopefully help somebody through the process.
Exactly.
And so here I am.
And it has been amazing to have you on and talk with you. We had originally said that we were going to just talk for about 20 minutes, and we are over 30. And I could honestly talk to you forever. But I also know you've got other stuff that you have to do today. But seriously, this has been an amazing conversation. And earlier, for those who are listening right now, before we got this going, Victoria was slightly nervous. However, slightly, but you have been doing amazing.
Thank you.
And this is your story, and it deserves to be told and to be out there. I mean, the stuff that you've gone through, and just like you said, a whirlwind. Yeah. Just over a year, the changes. Once you really start looking at you and what you need to figure out, things that you need to work on, the realization, just the realization, that right there can be a kick in the stomach, right? It can be a slap in the face, because nobody wants to look in the mirror and be like, oh shit, some of this is stuff that I have to work on. It's real. Yeah. And they're not easy tasks. No. And growth, as he always says, is not in the comfortable. Growth is uncomfortable. And so that's like this, going for the academy instructor, applying for something else, like doing a presentation for an interview. That's not something I like to do. That
that's what I had to do.
Right. Yes. And so with that said, as we go into the wrap up of this episode,
Yes.
with your 3.5 years of experience, everything that you've experienced up until now, especially this whirlwind past year, if you could go back in time to talk to yourself at the beginning of your public safety career, what would you tell yourself? And before you answer, this is not to change anything, because there's a lot of stuff that you've gone through that have brought you to where you are at today. And I can see and feel how happy you are and your growth and just the amazing things that you're doing. But if you could go back in time just to simply talk to yourself and say something, like, what would you say? Because, like, for example, for myself, I would go back in time and I would tell myself, you know what, things are going to be okay. Just letting you know, you're going to be all right. Just keep doing what you're doing. So if you could go back in time to talk to yourself, like, what would you say to yourself?
Honestly, it's everything I learned after the ranch is, like, lean into my own happiness. Where am I leading myself astray? Because I think that's where other people want me to be. And don't let that happen. Like, I have changed so much to do things that make me happy and to build myself up since the ranch, because he asks questions on the first day. They're like, what are you telling yourself? Where are you lying to yourself? What excuses are you giving yourself? Where are you holding yourself back from your happiness? And that's where everything changed for me. Day one of the ranch is where my life started to change. And I won't ever go back to before that, where I didn't let myself be happy, where I didn't let myself lean into the things that were me and to be authentically myself. And so that's what I tell myself, like, let yourself be happy. If you want to do something, do it. Like, obviously, don't do something bad, but like, let's be real.
Right,
but like, let yourself be happy. Who cares what other people think of you? Who cares if somebody looks at you and is like, oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
Great, that's me.
Exactly.
I'm uniquely me. And I'll never go back to a different way.
Awesome. Yes, that was excellent. That was perfect. Thank you so very much for being on, for sharing your story, and just for everything that you're doing in the profession. Thank you. Yeah. It's been amazing.
Thank you for everything you do and for kind of like pulling me over here to make me do this a little bit. Seeing me at a different booth and being like, hey, so we never scheduled, come here.
Yeah, let's do this now. We've got this. Let's do this. Yeah, no, it has been really good. And like I said, I could talk to you forever, but same. I don't want to hold you up anymore. So for all of those who are listening, if you'll hang tight here with me for just one moment. For those who are listening right now, if you have any comments, questions, you ever want to be a guest on the show, you can email us, or you can just simply hit the link by going to links, and that's links.co/IM911, and you'll find everything on there. You will find email, social media, where to hear the latest episode of Within the Trenches podcast, as well as the latest episode of the Imagine Listening podcast. There are links on there for the free The Trenches community, where you can find over 200 hours of free continuing education. Every session from Dare to Be Great 1 all the way to 6 are housed there, and you can watch them as many times as you want. So join the community. You'll get all of that, especially all 44 rounds of the Dispatchers Roundtable. So join us. We've got a lot of stuff going on there, coffee chats, checking in, all kinds of things. We've been having a lot of fun, and I'll be adding a lot more stuff soon. Shout outs to Individual as well as Rapid SOS and subscribers of the podcast. And then you can hear this 24/7 on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, your favorite podcasting app, and withinthetrenches.net. Have a good one, everyone, and we will see you all in the next one.
Imagine listening to someone's worst day every single day. Imagine listening as someone experiences life, through their worst nightmare to the miracle of birth or a life saved. I'm Ricardo Martinez, a former 911 dispatcher, and for years, I've been recording the voices of a hidden world, ours. I've provided a space for 911 dispatchers to share their powerful stories. It started as a peer support session and
line continues. Dispatchers sitting together, sharing out loud, or writing down what they couldn't say. Some stories will grip you. Stories of heartbreak, resilience, and calls that haunt us long after the line goes quiet. But imagine listening is more than heavy emotion. It's about healing. It's about laughing through the chaos, lifting each other up, and reminding the world that dispatchers are human too. The lighthearted will balance the heavy. Experience the power of storytelling, a podcast for the thin gold line and those who want to understand it. This is Imagine Listening. Your worst day is our everyday. Subscribe now wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.